So if you're considering relocating to Colorado and you're facing this massive decision, Boulder County or Denver, you probably have one of the biggest decisions you can imagine. I'm going to help you chisel it down and figure out which one might be right for you. And I'm not saying right or wrong, but right for you. I'm Michael with Lovato Properties, and I'm going to dive in to how to pick the city, Boulder or Denver, Denver or Boulder. So today's comparison will cover housing, cost of living, convenience, as well as outdoor access, lifestyle, and the vibe you're going to feel. By the end of this video, you should have a little bit more clarity onto which is right for the next chapter of your life. So I'm going to start with kind of the obvious, the pace. Boulder is just going to be a slower, more gradual, more laid-back vibe. It's also got the early morning vibe. So here you're going to see the social life surrounding, hey, let's get up and go for a run tomorrow at 6. Whereas in Denver, you're going to have a little bit more hustle and bustle, a little bit more action, a little bit more nightlife. So you're going to have options in that side. The social invite might be, let's go grab drinks, let's go catch a quick show. So one of those is going to be a little bit more appealing to you, and that's going to be very important that you don't settle for the wrong one. In Boulder, maybe a little bit more of an intelligence kind of academic excellence vibe, whereas Denver is going to encompass that, but it's also going to say, no, you know what? We're going to have more of a focus on a well-rounded life. And of course, neither one of these is wrong. It's just which energy are you looking for? So cost of living. Well, let's be honest, Boulder is more expensive. The median single-family home price in Boulder is going to be 1.1 to 1.3. That's a lot of money. That's not a lot of square footage either for that price. Whereas Denver, you have a lot more options, a lot more scale there. You can get a townhome, you can get a single family. Those price points, while they do have luxury all over Denver, they've also got reasonably priced homes in a much more affordable compartment. So I'll say that if budget is one of your factors, you might consider Denver. If you want kind of to pay for that outdoor access and that easy trail access, then you might want to come to Boulder. So here's another big distinction. If you're in Boulder, you're paying for access to outdoor activities, as in right out the door. Whereas in Denver, you're paying for urban access, as in right out the door. So easier to get to that nightlife, that social calendar, even those concerts or the bars and restaurants. Whereas here in Boulder, you're going to be paying a little bit more for your exercise, your outdoor time. Very different. And then as we look at one final thing, I'm going to say this. You have very different neighborhood choices in each town. But when you're settling in on Boulder, you're going to have maybe a little bit less variety. While there are distinct pockets, it all feels more or less like Boulder, whereas Denver has it all. Tons of different options. So here's another big distinction. In Boulder, you are in the mountains or right at the mountains, whereas Denver is next to the mountains, or a little bit further away. So what I mean is, if you're looking for a trail hike, Mount St. Ste's pretty much right there for Boulder residents. Whereas if you're in Denver, you need to drive 30, maybe 60 minutes to get to that same trail, to have that elevation, those climbs, those actual foothills or mountains. When you're in Denver, it is flatter. It is more expansive and open. You do have great paths. The Platte River runs through there, and there's all those networks of concrete and multi-use bike, skate, run paths. But that's still a little bit different. So that outdoor access when you're here in Boulder versus Denver, very different. And I'll say this as well, access to the further mountains. You're actually going to have the advantage in Denver of getting right up I-70 to those big ski resorts where you have a little bit more putzing around to do when you're in Boulder to get to those same roads. So what about the job markets? Well, Boulder and Denver, very different. Let's start with Denver. You've got more opportunity there, more headquarters there for big companies. Just more because it's a larger city. You're just gonna have more opportunities. I keep saying that word more because there are more chances there to land that great job. You just have those headquarters, you have those big companies, and you just have that opportunity. Whereas in Boulder, you may see an advantage to the big tech companies, the biotech, even headquarters for some of the outdoor brands in Boulder. They're very different, but I'll say this as well. You've got a bigger pool, and so you've got more of a chance of landing that dream job in Denver, whereas it can be quite competitive and quite tight for the offerings in Boulder. So that's the big difference. A little more, a little less. And one thing we see is a lot of folks will choose to live in Denver and then commute down Highway 36 to work in Boulder. And that's probably because more affordable housing as you go further east, but also the advantage of being in the city and having all that great city access that Denver provides, but then having that dream job here in Boulder. So you do see that commute, and there's a drawback there, so watch out, because Highway 36 can get pretty backed up both ways during rush hour. So if we talk about the cultural or the community vibes, very different here. When you look at Boulder, you're going to really notice a very health conscious, very academic focused, and excellence, that drive to succeed, that push, that elitism, that really high driver personality. You're going to see that a lot here. And then in Denver, you're going to see a little bit more of a balanced, a little bit more cultural, socioeconomic diversity. When you're in Boulder, it can feel pretty insular, pretty homogenous. So in Denver, the cultural and the restaurant opportunities, the arts, the entertainment, much more. That's a little bit more part of the scene. Whereas our scene in Boulder is a little bit smaller. You do have good restaurants, but not quite the choices that you have there in Denver. So community and culturally speaking, two very different communities. So what about convenience and travel? Well, in this one, Denver wins hands down. So way more convenient to get to the airport. So travel on a big scale is a lot easier there. Convenience as far as major sports teams, big concerts, we talked about this, the culture, the arts, way convenient. You're jumping on public transport or walking or taking an Uber to those venues, you're really close. Whereas in Boulder, you're gonna trade off that great access and great convenience for a slower vibe, a quieter vibe, a little bit more low-key vibe. So definitely if you're looking for some action and some convenience and that ease of travel, go for Denver. You're just gonna be annoyed when you're over here isolated in Boulder. So who is Boulder perfect for? Well, if you want that daily trails vibe, if you want that high excellence, high achiever vibe, if you want community over anonymity, if you're looking for just that slowed down, smaller scale feel, also if you just want a lot of, a lot less for your dollar, Boulder's for you. If that sounds like you, come on in. We'd love to have you. And who is Denver right for? Well, if you're looking for that big city life, great career opportunities, more diversity in your neighborhoods, also that big city anonymity, and if you just want that hustle, that bustle, that fun, all that kind of entertainment options and the arts and culture options, that's the place for you, absolutely without a doubt. To summarize, it's not about better or worse. It's really just about alignment. Some people feel constrained in Boulder and they feel energized in Denver. Some people feel at home in a big environment where others feel very lost in that huge sea of people. If you need some help kind of figuring out which place is right for you, well, I'm Michael with Lovato Properties, and I'd love to dive in and figure out which neighborhood, which part of town, which city is right for you. So DM me, drop me an email, call me. I'd love to help you navigate to that next chapter in your life.